On March 17th, researchers announced the potential discovery of a long-predicted twist in light from the Big Bang that represents the first image of ripples in the universe called primordial gravitational waves. The finding is considered to be direct proof of the theory of inflation, the idea that the universe expanded extremely quickly in the first fraction of a nanosecond after it was born. Some will consider this as a progressive step in the role science has played to explain the origins of the universe without the need of a creator. This is huge, says Mark Kamionkowski, professor of physics and astronomy at Johns Hopkins University, who was not involved in the discovery but who predicted back in 1997 how it could be found. It's not every day that you wake up and find out something completely new about the early universe. To me, this is a Nobel Prize worthy as it gets. The Big Bang was originally hypothesized by Belgian priest and physicist Georges Lemaitre. He called it the day without yesterday because it was the moment when time and space began. But the Big Bang did not fit all astronomers' observations. The distribution of matter across space is too uniform to have come from the Big Bang as originally conceived. So in the 1970s, cosmologists postulated a sudden enlargement of the universe called inflation that occurred in the first minuscule fraction of a second after the Big Bang, but confirming the idea proved to be difficult. That is until the discovery of primordial gravitational waves. Only inflation can amplify the primordial gravitational waves signal enough to make it detectable. Einstein's theory of general relativity talks about gravity and the universe as a whole. Quantum mechanics talks about the small scale of particles and the other forces of nature, the strong and weak nuclear forces and electromagnetism. Despite almost a century of effort, the world's physicists have not been able to show how these theories work together. They discovered primordial gravitational waves were generated when gravity and the universe were working on the same scale as particles and the other forces of nature, i.e., where both theories meet. It is hoped that this detection and subsequent analysis will lead to what physicists wistfully call a theory of everything. Naturally, this has led to a heightened state of excitement within the research and academic circles. As with every major scientific revelation, eager physicists hope it can unlock further mysteries of the universe and its origins. Renowned neo-atheists such as Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris and Lawrence Krauss will attempt to claim that science explains away the need for a creator. They often suggest that science is the only way knowledge is ascertained. The predominant discourse on how the universe came into existence does not include a creator, implying therefore he, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, does not exist. This technique intends to embed a subtle message: absence of evidence is an evidence of absence, but to empirical methods challenge the question of belief in a creator. Humans have always sought to find direction and meaning in life. In the quest for enlightenment, The central question people focus on is the question, why do things happen? This is innate in human beings, for the mind is capable of distinguishing between correct and false information. As Western civilization developed, it placed humans as their own legislators and as their own guides. It began to chart a new course from determining why things exist towards how. This was a result of its secular creed, which sought to relegate the creator out of the political and empirical spheres. Atheists were now shackled to seeking naturalistic explanations exclusively. Consequently, they evaded more fundamental questions. For instance, if it is asked, why does gravity exist? One can respond that it is a distortion of space itself, caused by the presence of any mass, star, planet, person, tree, resulting in a bending of space, thereby attracting objects to it, while explaining the existence of gravity. The question can be further reduced to why does mass distort space? Again, the questions can be reduced further still to laws of the universe, properties of subatomic particles, until scientists grudgingly admit it just does. Clearly, the function of science is limited to explaining how properties exist in a universe preordained by a particular set of laws. It is impossible for science to determine why there are laws and consistent patterns, at least on a macro level, as opposed to not with specific properties. For example, why does water boil at 100 degrees Celsius as opposed to 110 degrees Celsius? Science also fails to distinguish between contingency and the necessary. It cannot account for contingency, i.e. possible beings. For example, a circle is necessarily 2 pi r squared, but it's not the necessary for a circle to be red, blue or black. It could have a number of possible colors. Science then wouldn't explain why it has that possible color. It would only describe the circle and its particular color. Similarly, the universe could have a completely different set of parameters and variables instead of the ones we already have. Scientists try to account for the particular laws we see in this universe with baseless multiverse theories. The idea an infinite number of alternate universes exist, all subject to completely different laws and properties, thus accounting for the particular laws we see in this universe. However, such a conclusion of an infinite number of universes is both a leap of faith in science and a logical contradiction. The sum of limited will always be limited. Therefore, the universe is a possible existence, having a beginning with a particular set of laws preordained for it, which can only be accounted for by recourse to a power outside of nature and beyond the scope of scientific testing. Islam is built upon an intellectual proof, the belief that a limited, dependent universe requires an eternal creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that the Quran is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This satisfies the heart and the mind, and the Quran states, "It is He who shows you lightning, causing fear and aspiration, and generates the heavy clouds." Rather than simply observing processes, Muslims are required to reflect on the causes and motives behind them. Therefore, every phenomenon indicates preordained systems created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we observe the world rationally, it should surely increase our conviction in Islam. Discoveries alone will never explain the causes behind them, but will actually perpetuate the problem if the correct attitude is not adopted. Indeed, the correct attitude is taken directly from the Quran. And thus did we show Abraham the realm of the heavens and the earth, that he would be among the certain in faith. So when the night covered him with darkness, he saw a star, he said, "This is my Lord." But when it set, he said, "I like not those that disappear." And when he saw the moon rising, he said, "This is my Lord." But when it set, he said, "Unless my Lord guides me, I will surely be among the people gone astray." And when he saw the sun rising, he said, "This is my Lord, this is greater." But when it set, he said, "O my people, indeed I am free from what you associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, I have turned my face towards He who created the heavens and the earth, inclining towards truth, and I am not of those who associate others with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." A Muslim would see no contradiction between studying the processes and descriptions of the universe, its possible expansion, what laws exist in nature, and how to utilize such a preordained system, which is the application of the scientific method. The science therefore has a role and doesn't negate the rational question of why this process occurred in the first place, a question that naturally leads one to the rational conclusion of an unlimited and eternal creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that created the universe, preordaining it with a particular system. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of the night and the day, are signs of those of understanding.